G'day, I'm Michael Thompson. I'm a BigFix technical advisor for the Asia Pacific region based out of Melbourne, Australia. You can see my QR code there, which you can scan to get in contact with me via LinkedIn. Today I'm going to be talking about what are the initial steps that you need to do to configure BigFix immediately after you've done the install. We've certainly already got install videos on our YouTube channel, but this is just to show you the initial steps that you need to do after you've done that install. So I've got a fresh box here. I'm just going to speed up the video and do the install of BigFix. I'm just going to install a server, a console, a client, and a web UI, and we'll just time lapse this to get it done quickly. Okay, so we've got our BigFix environment stood up here. I've got my BigFix agent reporting into my console here. Now the first thing to understand with BigFix is that you need to wait for an initial gather to happen on the first site that everyone gets at a platform level, which is our BES support site. So if I click on this support site and have a look, you can see here that we've got version 0 currently. So what we have to do is wait for this to gather. Now this is going to happen in the background, and it's going to gather on this particular URL that I've got here. Now, how BigFix works is this is an external site, which is a read-only copy. I can grab that URL, paste it into a browser here, and here you can see I can see the version 1459. So BigFix is just going to gather this content and bring it down, and once we get that information coming back, we'll be able to do things like our licensing and enable sites and things like that. Now, depending on what sort of bandwidth you have, it may take anywhere from, say, 20 minutes to an hour for you to get, or a couple of hours even, for you to get that site information show up. You can actually have a look at logs to see whether they're going. Now, my particular install here is on my D drive. So I've installed my BigFix server on my D drive. But most people, if they do the default install, they'll install it to C:\program files x86 and then BigFix Enterprise and then obviously BES server. So once you get into the BES server directory, we're going to look at our gatherdb data directory, and here we have our gatherdb.log. Now I've only got really the initial information about the actual process or the service starting up. There's nothing else, and we will get some updates in there, but really you'll only get that close to the point where we're finished. So here we can see now our gatherdb has actually finished. You can see it was beginning the import of the version 1459 of our BES support site, and then successfully completed that import. So if we go and have a look here on our console, here's our 1459 version, and we've now got content inside of this particular site, BES support. So we've got all our dashboards and wizards and fixlets and things like that. So we can drag up the domain area down the bottom here, and we can now click on our BigFix management domain. So once we go into here, we want to go into our license overview dashboard, and in here what we can do is accept particular EULAs as well as then activate license content. So I'm going to, for the purposes of this video, enable our patches for Windows site, just to show you how you would get up with going with that. So the first thing I've got to do here in our new 10.0.4 dashboard is choose our module. So I don't have patch, I've got lifecycle, which has patch embedded, so I'll select this. And here's my EULA, so I'll just scroll down here and click accept on that. And then I've just got to find my patches for Windows site and activate that. Now, because of the new version, we've got multiple pages, so it's here on page 2. We've only got 50 rows per page showing. So let's scroll up here and see if I can find patches for Windows English is the one I'm looking for. And there it is. So we click enable, and you can see it's now gone from that list there. So if we go back to our first page that we had a look at and scroll up to the top here, we'll now see that it's showing there as enabled. And it defaults back to its original name for that site, which was Enterprise Security when the product was first released. But once it does that first gather of Enterprise Security, that name will change back to Patches for Windows. So we'll go and have a look at our sites here. Once again, it's an external site, so it's a read-only copy. So we have a URL, and you can see there the site version is 0. So we just need to wait for that to gather. Once again, I'll speed up the video while we wait for that to happen. Okay, so we've now got version 3858 of our Patches for Windows site. You can see the names come back, Patches for Windows. And we now have a warning area here, which is notifying us that we've got sites that haven't been subscribed. So this is just a way that you can, help manage your system inside the BigFix management area. You can also go down, if you wanted, into all content and manually subscribe sites, but it's nice and easy that it puts it all in the one location here. So I'm just going to select all computers and click Save Changes. And so now I've subscribed all computers to that, but you don't need to worry about that if you've got different OSs here. We've got what we call site level relevance. So even though I've specified all computers, this site level relevance here is going to narrow down the system to Windows only systems, and only those Windows systems which have a native agent, so not machines that are reporting in via a proxy agent. Sometimes I like to put in a computer group here instead of just doing all computers and be a bit more granular. It's up to you how you do that. I find it a little bit easier to certainly control what I'm doing. The next thing I'd advocate that we do is look at analysis, and certainly on the best support site we've got some analysis here which exists. So I'm just going to go through and select all of these and right click on this blue background so I can activate all of them at once. And now I've activated those particular analysis, even though there's content in here like Azure or peer nesting and things like that. I don't need to worry about the fact that I'm not using them. They're going to use relevance applicability to determine whether I actually have the need for that. And so if I actually activate that content later, they'll automatically then become applicable and start reporting in that information that we're after. Certainly with other sites, as you activate analysis, you may want to look at, which analysis you actually want to activate. You may not want to always activate all of them, so it's important to understand and know what it is that you're doing. The next thing I like to do is set the client settings. There's one particular setting, if I go into Edit Computer Settings here, that's by default not really good, and that's our cache setting for our BigFix server. So you can see here it's got 1024, which is the default megabyte setting for the cache. Now we want to change that, so that's really not much. That's only 1 gigabyte in size. So I'll click Edit over here. And what I'm going to do is set this to 50,000, which is, roughly 50 gig in size. I know it's not exactly the right conversion of 1024 by 50, but that's close enough. And I suggest doing that to all of your BigFix server and all of your relays to make sure that you have enough cache sizing, because the cache will automatically manage up to that size, and then it will remove the least frequently used file to make way for a new file. But if you haven't set that up, essentially you're always going to be churning inside that content and not storing any and getting any efficiencies. The other thing I'd suggest doing is creating some groups here. So I'll create an automatic group for my one endpoint. So I'll go with all-os-win2019, and I'm going to filter here on OS, and I'm going to put WIN2019 with a capital W. And if we have a look here in our computers tab at the OS, you can see this is what it's filtering on, capital WIN2019. So that's really it for initial configuration. So thanks for watching today. Here you can see on the right hand side some links to get in touch with us via our social pages on LinkedIn and Facebook. On the left, we've got our URLs which you can engage. So www.bigfix.com is a great place to go and find information about BigFix and also schedule a demo if you're interested. Support.bigfix.com is a place you can go to download software as well as to raise support tickets. And finally, forum.bigfix.com is a great place to keep up to date with latest releases, as well as, raising any issues with the wider community and asking questions around BigFix itself. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.
If you enjoyed this video, please click like. If you'd like to be notified when there's updates, please subscribe to the BigFix TA YouTube channel. The link is below.